Hello everyone, Nancy here with A Joyful Cottage. Well, it's been quite a while since I've made a video and I apologize for that. I'm sure that you thought I fell off the face of the earth, but I didn't. I've just been really busy. Things at work have changed and new processes, so I'm trying to muddle through that. And also, I may have mentioned here that I have guests coming the end of September and another one in October. And I'm trying to get my guest room ready for that. Finish the bathroom, which I've been working on for forever, it seems like. I think it's been over a year since I started that project. So if you've watched my other videos about my bathroom, you know what all I had planned there and what I've done. Anyway, I've just been kind of overwhelmed, and at the end of the video I'll talk a little bit more about that and what I do when I feel overwhelmed like that. So the most recent thing I've done in the guest bath is to paint the vanity cabinet, and I want to share that with you today. So I'll be sharing the process I went through to get it to where it is now, and we'll do a look at the before and of course the after and everything in between. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope it inspires you in some way, maybe encourages you to do a project that you've been putting off. And with that, we'll get started. I will be painting this white just like I have in my kitchen. This is one of the doorknobs that I'm going to be using. So I have two doorknobs. I got this at Hobby Lobby, 50% off. I think they'll look really cute in here. I always remove the doors from the cabinets before I start painting. I know some people do paint around the hinges, but I don't like to do that. I think if you take the doors off, you get a much more professional looking job. These were very difficult to get off. The hinges they were rusted out, and the screws were stripped, so it took quite an effort to get them out. I had to use a flathead screwdriver, even though it was a Phillips screw head, to get it started so that I could get it out, but I eventually got it done. After removing the doors, I gave the cabinet a good cleaning, as well as the doors themselves. And then I applied one coat of shellac to the cabinet base and to the doors. The shellac keeps the tannins from bleeding through the paint. I've noticed that when I did my kitchen cabinets, I had some bleeding, and that taught me to use shellac first. Just one coat is all I need, and it goes on very easily. And then once it's dry, you can start painting. I am wearing a mask because the shellac has a strong odor. I'm using Rustoleum chalk paint in the color linen white, which is the same paint I use for my kitchen cabinets and for my laundry room. I like this paint. I like the way it goes on. I like the color. And I have quite a bit left over from my kitchen, so I'm using it up. There were people in my comments when I talked about my bathroom who said, "Oh, don't paint it white. Paint it some other color." But I find painting it white is timeless. I could paint it a color, but that's very trendy. Colors are very trendy, and I don't feel like I want to paint this every other year. So white it is, and it goes with my aesthetic in my home. The paintbrush I'm using to apply the paint is a 2-inch shortcut hook and hold angle sash brush by Worcester. This is a polyester brush. It works really great with the paint that I use. I like the size of it. It's easy to hold on to. And I find it's just a great little brush. I like it a lot. And it also cleans up well. I don't use a lot of painter's tape. I don't tape things off when I'm painting. I just keep baby wipes close by and wipe up any paint that gets on an area where I don't want it. I find with chalk paint especially, it's very easy to just get the paint off. I find also with taping, sometimes there's bleeding underneath the tape, and sometimes I have more trouble with tape than if I just don't bother with it and just keep a rag or a baby wipe close by to wipe up the excess. I'm not painting the inside of the cabinet frame, and that's a personal preference. I don't like to paint it because I've found over in the past that it gets scratched up no matter how good the paint job is, and I don't like that, so I do not paint the frame. I know that many people do. They think it looks more professional, and that's fine. I just prefer to leave it natural, and that way I don't have to worry about the paint chipping and scratching and so forth. So I'm not trying to get full coverage here, just a nice smooth finish on this first coat. And of course I did paint both the fronts and the backs of the doors. With painting projects, I always find that the hardest part is just getting started. Once I actually dip in and dig in and start doing the painting, it just takes on a life of its own, and it becomes kind of exciting to see the transformation. So I don't know, are any of you like that? You just have trouble getting your supplies together and getting started, but once you actually open that can of paint and put in your paintbrush for the first time and start applying it, you get kind of excited about the project. One of the things I really love about painting pieces or rooms or whatever you're working on is that it's such an inexpensive way to make a big impact in a home. That there's probably nothing that you can do that will be so budget friendly as to get a can of paint and paint something. It's just very rewarding. I like it. I am paying particular attention to the corners of the door where the details are to make sure that they get covered well. You want to make sure that you don't have any gaps. And if you need to caulk to close it up, then that's something that really makes it just kind of kicks everything up a notch when you do that. So paying particular attention to the corners and getting enough paint on there to cover everything. Now the thing about this is too, if you do end up with a glob of paint, you can always take sandpaper after it's dried and lightly sand it down, and then put another touch-up coat on that area if you need to. After the doors were completely dry, and I really waited about 2 days before I did this, I distressed the cathedral detail on the doors with a 220 grit sandpaper. I just rubbed across the paint and just gave it a distressing. Again, this is personal preference. I just happen to like the look of distressing on painted pieces. It fits in with the vintage look that I'm usually going for. I do feel that distressing, at least light distressing, brings out the details of a piece and makes it more beautiful. The final step is to seal the chalk paint, and I use a clear wax by Magnolia Home. Kills is the manufacturer. It's sold at Ace Hardware, so it's easy for me to get a hold of it. I've used it in the kitchen cabinets, the laundry room, and now I'm using it in the bathroom. Some people use polyacrylic, which is a good resource as well. It would probably be a good idea to use it in a bathroom where there's going to be a lot of usage, especially if you have children. Otherwise, I think wax works just great, and it's easy to apply. Before you start waxing, make sure the surface is free of any dust or lint. I'm applying a thin coat of the clear wax to the cabinet. I'm not putting a lot on at a time. I'm just dipping my cloth into the wax, getting enough on it to apply and spread out over the surface. After the wax has thoroughly dried, I take a lint-free cloth and buff the surface of the cabinet and the doors. So if you've seen the videos of my kitchen cabinetry and you wondered how I painted that, what the process was, this is the exact same process. So what you've seen here in this video is exactly how I did my kitchen cabinets as well as my laundry room. And here it is, all decked out with new paint and satin, nickel finished hardware, and the new knobs. Much improved. Well, thanks for taking the journey with me today on painting my guest bath vanity cabinet. I hope you enjoyed the video and maybe learned something. Maybe it'll inspire you in some way. I did enjoy sharing it with you. In the beginning of the video, I talked about feeling overwhelmed and told you that I would share some thoughts with you about what I do when I do feel overwhelmed. Before I do that, I want to just give a little brief explanation of some of the other things that have brought me to that point. So after my last video, which had to do with the thrift finds that I had, I changed the breaker box in my home because upon inspection it was rusting out and it was in fairly bad shape. So I decided to spend the money and have that done because obviously you want your home to be safe. And that was not an inexpensive thing to do, and that kind of set me back financially, not in a big way, but it just used up some of the money I had set aside for other things. But that's why I have that fund, is to take care of emergencies and things that need to be taken care of. So I was able to do that, and I was thankful to the Lord that I had the money to do it. But it was a bit of a unexpected turn, and so that set me back just a bit. Then on top of that, and this is really much more critical, I received news from my family that my eldest nephew has stage 4 cancer. And he was a Marine in his 20s and stationed at Camp Lejeune. And if you know anything about the Camp Lejeune fiasco, you know that there was contaminated water that has resulted in a number of people ending up with cancers of various kinds. It's a long story, and I'm sure some of you have some experience with this, maybe in your own family or friends. So I won't go into a lot of detail other than to say that he's in treatment, and it is terminal. It's just a matter of when and what they can do to extend his life. Now, he's fairly young. He's 60 years old, so he has a wife and a daughter, and this is a brother that lost his youngest son back in the late 90s. So this is his eldest son and then his younger son, and it's a lot for our family to deal with. And thankfully, we all are Christians walking with the Lord and trusting in Him. And my nephew is a believer and is not afraid of death. Nevertheless, it's still a challenge and something that we are praying about. And if you feel led to pray for my nephew, I hope that you will. His name is Jim. So that happened in the midst of things. And then I had a shingles shot in vaccine. I got my second vaccine and I got sick. It really hit me hard and I was down for 2 days. So just life happens, you know. I'm no different than anybody else. Things happen to me just like they do to you, and so I was just feeling so overwhelmed, and I feel a responsibility to keep my YouTube channel going because I know there are people that have subscribed that, you know, they're subscribing because they're interested in content, and I don't want to disappoint people, but something had to give, and I've just come to the realization that I can't do it all. I'm still working full time, and I need to take it easy on myself and not put unexpected or too many expectations on myself. So anyway, in the midst of my overwhelmed feelings, I went to the Lord, which is the first thing that we should do. And I love to go to Psalms because when I read the Psalms of David especially, when I'm feeling like that, his Psalms bring so much comfort to me because I can see where David struggled with life issues and went to the Lord, poured out his soul, his heart to the Lord, and then received back from God the encouragement he needed to continue on. So I had opened up the Psalms that particular morning and I went to Psalm 61, beginning in verse 1. Hear my cry, O God, listen to my prayer. From the end of the earth I call to you. When my heart is faint, lead me to the rock that is higher than I, for you have been my refuge, a strong tower against the enemy. So when your heart is faint, and some versions of the Bible say, when my heart is overwhelmed, and I like that. When my heart is overwhelmed, who do I go to? What do I do? Well, I go first to the Lord, and I read his word, and I receive encouragement there, knowing that I'm not the only one that has faced discouragement or feelings of being overwhelmed. It's not new to me. It's been an age-old problem for many people, and will continue to be again. So that's where I go first when I'm feeling overwhelmed. And then I sat down and I thought, okay, what am I doing that is, what can I do? What's my part in this? How can I address my feelings of being overwhelmed? And I realized that I was putting too many expectations on myself, and I needed to take a look at that and assess what really is important, what really do I need to be doing. So yes, I want to get my guest room ready, but I had planned on maybe painting it, and then I thought, I don't need to paint the guest room. It's fine. It doesn't need to be repainted. Maybe sometime later I'll repaint it for some reason, but for now, it's fine. I don't need to do that. So concentrate on the things that really need to be done. And of course, my bathroom needs to be completed because I have to put it back together because it's a guest bath and my guests are going to use it. So I just decided that I would do the things that absolutely were critical to be done, and the things that didn't need to be done that could wait till a later date, I would put off. So once I kind of went through that mental exercise and then kind of prioritized things, it took so much pressure off me, and I realized that I have enough time to get done what I need to do and not be stressed out and overworked, and I will do what I can to make my home presentable for my friends. But the truth of the matter is, they are really close friends, and they're not here to inspect my home. They're here to spend time with me. And what a blessing that is to know that I have friends that want to be with me and are longing to be with me, and I want to be with them. So I don't know if you ever go through those mental gymnastics where you feel overwhelmed in some way, and then you come to realize that you're maybe putting some stress on yourself that you don't need to, that you can do something about that. But it was a real eye-opener to me to realize that I don't have to have a perfect home. I can do the things that are within my ability to do without wearing myself out, wearing myself to the point of stress, and just enjoy life and be appreciative of what I have. The other thing I really want to do is to start decorating for fall. I love this season. But there again, right now, I just don't have the time. So once I get things under control here and I get done with my bathroom, which I truly believe I can finish in the next couple of weeks, and my first guest is coming the end of September, so I've got time to do that. Then also I've got the guest bedroom in process, and I know that I will finish that in time as well. I don't have to rush. I don't have to, again, wear myself out. It's going to get finished. So I don't know if any of that makes sense to you, if I'm rambling too much, but that's what's on my heart today, and I wanted to share that with you, to, include God in your plans and in your life and talk to him just like you would a friend, just like I'm talking to you today. And he will give you wisdom. He will give you answers. So even though I don't have autumn decorations out, I do have my autumn coaster. I did get that out. And I have a new coffee cup I found at the thrift store, and that brings me joy. And today is a rainy day here in Colorado, and I'm enjoying a mug of hot chocolate. Or a cup of hot chocolate. So yeah, that's where I'm at today. I really hope that you're having a good day. I hope that your life is centered around Christ and his love for you, and that you're walking with him faithfully. And he never lets us go. He's always there for us and always so faithful. So my friends, if this was an encouragement to you, I hope that you'll share it with a friend maybe who needs to be encouraged today. Thank you for your support. Thank you for those that have left little notes to me wondering if I'm okay and where I'm at, and telling me you're looking forward to me being back. So I hope to keep up better with videos. I've got another one in the works. I'm doing the smart tiles in my bathroom, and I hope to have that out soon as well. So don't give up on me. I'm still here. I love you, and I'm thinking about you. And we'll get together again soon. God bless you.